Okay, so today we're going to talk about counterexamples. This is again a part of logic. Counterexample disproves a conditional. For example, all fire trucks are red. Okay, all fire trucks are red. So if I wanted to write this as an if-then statement, you want to take the break right between the subject and verb. So that's why this blue line is here. All fire trucks, stop it, are red. So if I wanted to rewrite it as an if-then statement, if it is a fire truck, then they are red. Typically, I have to add a few more words here to make it sound right, but that's okay. So when we're looking at a counterexample, the hypothesis has to stay true. The hypothesis remains true. It has to be a fire truck. But the conclusion is different. It just has to be different. So if it is a fire truck, then they are red. Okay, well, how many of you have seen a fire truck that is a different color? That's different. That means it would be a counterexample. For example, there are yellow fire trucks. You may have seen a different color. That different color is a counterexample. Okay, so the best way to work counterexamples is just to practice them. So in class, we're going to do these examples. So you would write your answer in the chat box, but we'll pause here. All birds can fly. Let's think about this. Can you think of, okay, because all birds can fly. So I would cut this off here between birds and can fly. So if, I don't know, if it's a bird, because that makes more sense because they're all birds, then it can fly. So let's take a look at that, because now I can split it into a conditional statement. So my hypothesis has to be true. It has to be a bird, but I need something different than it can fly. Are there any birds that can't fly? What do you think they would be? And you can pause that. No books have pictures in them. Okay. No books have pictures in them. Trying to see how I can reword this. What kind of books would have pictures in them? Can you think of a book that would have a picture in it? What would that be? If something produces light, then it is a light bulb. So you have to have something that produces light. What produces light that's different than a light bulb? What's something that produces light that is different than a light bulb? I can think of a few things, but we'll discuss that in class. If something has stripes, then it is a zebra. So what is something that has stripes that's different than a zebra? Is there another animal with stripes? Is there another object with stripes? Anything that's different than zebra would count as a counterexample. And it says something, so it doesn't say it has to be an animal. No square has a perimeter equal to its area. No square has a perimeter that's equal to its area. I believe there is one counterexample in the mathematician in me. So perimeter of a square means you have not four. You have 2 lengths and 2 widths. Well, no, you have 4 sides. So the perimeter would be the 4 sides equal together, and that would have to equal the area of the square, which would be the side squared. So the 4 sides added together or multiplied for the perimeter, because they're all 4 the same, would have to equal the side squared. So they're saying there's not an answer to that. But I can set it up mathematically. Can you solve it? What would be the counterexample? Any 4-legged piece of furniture is a table. Okay, so I can split this between furniture and is. So I need a true 4-legged piece of furniture that's different than a table. So what other pieces of furniture are there that have 4 legs and are different from a table? I can think of a few. If a living being has eyes, then it's a human. So my true statement has to be a living being has eyes. So it's got to be living, it's got to be a being, and it has to have eyes, but it's got to be different than a human. So what else out there is living and has eyes and is different than a human? I can think of a few. There's lots of counterexamples to this one. If something is white, then it is mayonnaise. So my hypothesis has to be true. Something is white, but I need something different than mayonnaise. What can you think of that's white that's different from mayonnaise? I got a few ideas. Anything on the wall is a whiteboard. So my split would be between wall and is. Anything on the wall is a whiteboard. Okay, so I have to have something on the wall, anything. But what's different than a whiteboard? What's something you've seen on a wall that's different than a whiteboard? I could think of lots of things. So each one of those would be a counterexample. And we'll play with these in class. So that ends our counterexample. And now it's your turn to practice.